Hello everyone, and welcome to my Inktober 2017 sketchbook tour. I use this sketchbook primarily for my Inktober drawings this year, besides one of the drawings which is in another sketchbook. And this is a Strathmore drawing paper sketchbook. I kept this little insert so I would remember in case I liked it, and then I could buy it again, and I do really like it. The pages held up really well to ink, even though it's made for drawing. I think on the back it says it does work well with ink. Also good for soft pastel, oil pastel, marker, pen, and ink. And it did hold up really well with Copic markers as well. You just had to put a scrap piece of paper, which I have, in there underneath the sheet that you do draw with markers on, because it does bleed through a little bit, but not as bad as I thought it would. So there's that. The cover is like a nice soft kind of vellum feeling, and the pages are like a creamy white, not a bright white. These marks are from this little clip that I had to hold the pages while I was drawing on the opposite side. And actually, let's take that up because that looks gross. Yeah, it did warp quite a bit from all the use this month, all the ink, and I think there's a little bit of paper craft in there too on one of them, but it doesn't want to stay closed. It's pretty thick, and actually there's like a couple more pages at the end that I want to fill in, just because I would hate to leave it blank. And one drawing I'm currently working on that's not part of Inktober, which will be up on my channel shortly after this sketchbook tour. So let's jump right in. Actually, I want to show you guys my first drawing that I did for Inktober in this sketchbook. The first drawing that I did for Inktober was actually on the last day of September, because I wanted to have it ready and recorded to upload on October 1st. So I worked on it the last day of September and the first day of October. So I still counted it as my first Inktober piece, and it is of my original character Pons, which you'll see a lot this month because he's really fun to draw. And he's in a magical girl outfit because I thought that would be kind of funny and fun. And I used some of these prompts for Inktober, but I wasn't really strict with using like all of them. If I didn't have an idea that day, then I would look at the list and try to generate an idea from these words. And these ones as well. Draw your character in certain outfits. So, magical girl. Alright. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say about that sketchbook. Oh yeah, and then the sketchbook actually I used a lot for my preliminary sketches for Inktober. So you'll see a lot of like, when I do the sketchbook tour, you'll see a lot of these kind of sketchy. This is for that monster, guardian monster piece. That Levane with Pons holding her head. My little lamppost dragon. So I do like a lot of the quick sketches, generate the idea, and a lot of color swatches for the inks and markers that I used, and the pens. I'm excited to use more of these Zig Clean Color Real brushes in this sketchbook because they look a lot more vibrant on the bright white paper opposed to the creamy white paper in my other one. So I was like binge watching the Defenders while I was sketching some of these. So there's that. And then onto my actual Inktober sketchbook. I did this, I believe, I think I did this September 30th as well. Maybe I did it October 1st, I can't remember, but Just wanted to have some fun with the gold inks. Gold ink. Winsor Newton. Whee! Shiny. And first page is a self-portrait and a little cartoony. This is my cartoon self, Speth Jasu, if you don't know. That name just came from one of my old friends who just randomly called me Speth Jasu one day, and I chose it as my cartoon self name while I was in my cartooning class in college, and it just kind of stuck after that. And I added some horns to myself to kind of mimic that cartoon self. This was supposed to be a gender bend of one of my Flight Rising dragons, Akatosh. And she's originally female, and I tried to draw her as male, but it's kind of androgynous, so I might redo this. I don't know, I still really liked how it turned out, so I might try drawing her as a male in the future with more masculine features, but I do like how this one turned out with the gold. And I splattered some extra gold for fun. This is a chibi Pons. I drew a lot of Pons, as I told you already, but he's one of the characters that I want to incorporate into a graphic novel in the future, but I am afraid of a lot of things, so I need to get over my fear, and I will eventually make a graphic novel featuring Pons and a lot of my other characters. A few of them are also in this sketchbook, which I'll point out. Yeah, this was really fun. A lot of metallic ink in this one as well. I wish I had bought in like a deeper purple ink, because this one actually looked like a really deep purple before I shook it up, and then I realized it was like a lavender shiny ink, but it's still really pretty. Hestu, my favorite Breath of the Wild character. He's just so positive and adorable. I love him. And the green ink that I got is also metallic, so I mixed that one with the black ink, and it made this really interesting color. And the black ink kind of dyed the sparkle parts of the green ink, so that looks really interesting close up. I don't know if you can tell, like the black dots. Yeah, that looks really interesting. But the green of his leaf is like the original green ink color, and then this is the green ink mixed with my black Sumi ink. Yeah, he was fun. This is the paper craft one, so this black circle-y part is paper. It's like a black post-it note that I just glue sticked on there, and I was feeling pretty lazy that day. Even though gluing this took a long time, the sketching over it took only a couple minutes. It's like a gold gel pen and a brush pen, and I just wanted that sketchy, cool effect. And this is Lavaine, and she's another of my original characters. She's actually betrothed to Pons in the story, but something happens to her where she kind of turns to an antagonist instead of a protagonist, but I won't give that away. This is an experiment that I did with masking fluid, and I talk a little bit about it in that video. Excuse the wiggle. And then I got some brush markers that I did this lettering with, which is pretty fun. I used some prompts and a suggestion from my friend to do a vampire mermaid. So I combined those two. She got little pointy teeth. And then it's a little hard to see right here, but that's like the bottom of the glass that she's holding. And then behind that is like a crown that might have come from that castle or something. Make your own story up for it. I really liked the gold ink on top of the black ink. That was probably my favorite part of this drawing. And I was proud that I actually did a background for once, because I never do backgrounds. This one I didn't really count as an Inktober piece. I accidentally bent this paper when I was erasing an under sketch for the next one, and you can't really tell on video, but I didn't want to waste the paper. I just didn't want to do the Inktober drawing on a bent piece. I think you can see like a little bit right there where it's bent. So I was just looking at Google Images for references of different faces. And just kind of messing around. And then this is my actual piece for day 8. The lamppost dragon. I kind of wish I didn't add this broken glass at the end because it's kind of distracting and meh. But I do really like how this one turned out. The clean color real brushes were very fun to use, like watercolor, mixing them with water. And I use the same brushes for this one of my dog Wiley, and I have painted from this photo reference before, so you might have seen that on like my Instagram if you follow me there. But I added the flowers, which looked really pretty with that watercolor like effect. This is my original character, Samus, which I might change his name because I'm not really happy with it anymore, but he's one of my oldest original characters, so I also kind of don't want to change it just because it's been that for so long, so I don't know, we'll see. And I had fun with his sweater pattern, just playing around with wet on wet ink and water. Yeah. This one is a haunted treehouse, and I was inspired by the YouTuber Mini Small for this one. She did, for her Inktober, she did like a haunted house every day, but they're haunted by different things, so I just felt like drawing a house of some kind, so I did a tree house, and very faintly you can see the silhouette of a person in this window. So maybe it's a ghost or something. Spooky. I had a lot of fun with these shadows up here. Well, shadow leaves. Yeah, I don't know. It looks cool. I think this one I was feeling really lazy again, and I didn't really know what to draw, so I looked at my prompts and I saw Evil Angel. So it's like a dark angel smiting someone down there, and like all the references I saw when I was looking up angels, they had like 2 fingers, like blessing, but they're usually pointed up, I think like referring to God, so hers was like pointing down, and I think it looks kind of like finger guns, so I don't know, it looks interesting. And I used those Zig brushes again. I'm not really that happy with the background, but I do like this dark circle. I kind of wanted it to be like a halo, but I think I should have moved it up a little bit probably. And then to go along with the evil angel prompt, I did a good demon as its opposite. And so this little monster guy is guarding a human from the monsters that are under the bed. And he's got like a third eye because he's very watchful. And yeah, I kind of wish I had done some ink wash gray tones for this one, because it feels a little bit bare, but overall I had a lot of fun with the brush pen. And so I wanted to flesh out his design a little bit more. I did a bigger version of him the next day, which is one of my favorite pieces of the month. I especially like this hand, like the hatching to suggest the form. This hand is kind of wonky, but I think overall I really like the piece. And I think I used the Copic brush pen for this one because I thought I was going to color the whole thing with grays, but then I just did a gray rectangle in the background to help it pop out a little bit more. And then I did the same kind of technique with the Copic brush pen and the Copic gray background of my original character Lavaine. And her face is being held by Pons' hands. Before the dynamic story arc thing happens and her horn breaks off and stuff, so there's that. I won't reveal too much of the story yet because I want to keep it secret until I'm ready to, until I've developed it more and I know for sure what's going to happen in the story. Pons again in some autumn clothing. I kind of just wanted to draw a lot of folds and a scarf especially and play around with gold inks a little bit more so his horns are like breaking and fading off. Some gold ink. Another page that I accidentally bent while erasing, so I didn't want to waste it, and I got some colored inks, Dr. P.H. Martin's Bombay India ink, and they are amazing. The white is super opaque, but for some reason it leaves a lot of little bubbles that pop and then leave these little like dots in the middle, so you have to kind of apply it thinly. On this one, I just wanted to mix the purple ink and my black ink and see what that looked like, so I did that and it's really pretty. Sorry, I had to pause there. My dog had to go outside. And where was I? Galactic Overlord, because I couldn't think of any better title for this one. And it's kind of another androgynous face. Originally, I think it was supposed to be a girl, but then the chin looked too strong, and I don't know, it's pretty androgynous. And it was inspired by this little sketch in my other sketchbook just while I was watching TV. I don't know, I really like the shape of the face and the stars, and I was a little bit also inspired by James Burke, Luke Burke Collective on YouTube. He does like a lot of star patterns in his drawings, I've noticed, so I don't know, I just felt like incorporating more stars. And I added way more stars for this one because I was having too much fun with the silver ink on top of the purple black. And the eye is like a silver mixed with the purple, so it's a very light purple color. But it's just pretty. And I think I actually used a normal brush with my Sumi ink for this one instead of a brush pen. And the lines are very dark purple instead of pure black. But you can barely tell. And the next one is a cozy corner that I would like to have in my future home, and I talk about it a little bit more in that specific video of the time-lapse drawing. And I think I might color this one eventually because I want to show that this is a window and not like a wall, so the light would be coming from this way and shining. And there'd be a lot of shadows and maybe some like dust motes floating in the air. I love that in real life, so I think it'd be a fun one to color, maybe with the zig markers, or just watercolor since Inktober is over now and I can do whatever I want. Yeah. Spethajasu in an epic fighting pose. I think I was a little bit inspired by, Beatrice Blue on Instagram. I don't think she has, no, she doesn't have a YouTube, but she's on Instagram, and she has a lot of, like, almost child's, or kids' book illustration looking artwork, and I love her line work especially. I don't know, it's really cool. So I was inspired by her, and I did cheat a little bit with this one, and the red on the face is colored pencil, but the majority of it is ink. So I like the vibrant red marker that I got in a, I don't remember which, it was an art subscription box, but I don't remember which one it was. But it was this marker. Prismacolor, Premier, and Carmine Red. Carmine? I don't know how to pronounce it. The only thing is that it's not a brush marker. It's like a chisel and a point one, but it worked fine for the cape. And I like that color a lot, so. I saw this design on an enamel pin online, and I have the link to the pin on this time-lapse drawing, so you can see and compare it to that if you want. But I thought that would be really fun to do with those Bombay inks and the gold inks for the lines, and wowza, it was so fun and so pretty. I think this is one of my favorite ones as well. This is my original character Mark, and his story is intertwined with Pon's story. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but actually I do have part of a comic of his on my DeviantArt that I never finished because I am awful. But I will definitely redo it in the future and make it better. I don't really like the drawing style that I used for it. But if you want to see a little bit of his story, then check out my DeviantArt page. Probably linked in the description here. I had a lot of fun with the ink wash. It was just gorgeous. And then this white was the Dr. P.H. Martin's white, which is actually really opaque, and I like splattering that all over. Whee! And this one was when my wrist started killing me. All the little tiny details, and I used a new brush pen that I wasn't used to, so it felt a lot different than the ones that I was using, and my hand just couldn't take it at the end of that. But yeah, if you want to know more about the character, watch this time-lapse video. I can't remember which number it is, but it's called Athari. Alright, and this one is a birthday drawing for my husband. His birthday was 23rd. And one of something that he really wants to do is swim in the ocean, so I did a drawing of him in the ocean with some fishies, wearing birthday hats for some reason. And I colored it with Copic markers. This is the left hand challenge because my right hand was hurting really bad. So I just use a brush pen to draw my right hand with my left hand. It's awful. Yeah, I didn't have any ideas for this day, and I was feeling really lazy and not motivated, so I decided to just play with those brush markers again, and do some kind of awful lettering. I tend to write poop a lot when I'm doing calligraphy. I don't know why. I don't know. And like random stuff like fart, and yeah. But it's kind of getting in the Halloween spirit. I accidentally marked that green when I was opening the pen to write fart, but yeah. My favorite is the skeleton dance. Me as a steamed dumpling, well, Spethjasu, my cartoon self, as a steamed dumpling, because I had a dream once that I was one, and it was super cozy and warm. I didn't think about the fact that I would probably be eaten, but it was a really good dream regardless. And my husband actually suggested me drawing this one, and it turned out really well, so I thank him for that. This one was an experiment, and I don't know, it was really fun and pretty. You can watch the video for that to see how I did this nebula effect. And then another just random sketch page, because I didn't know what to draw. I tend to draw a lot of faces when I don't know what to draw. Spiky head, I like that one a lot, and I like this like lion mane guy a lot. And I like the Roman nose a lot. It's fun to draw. Yeah, I just used a variety of brushes and like an ink wash that I had in one of those, I don't know, those water brush things that you can fill up. And another ponds, because why the hell not? I just wanted to show some swirly silver magic-y stuff coming from his eyes. So pretty. He is the silver-eyed prince, after all. And then the last one, yay! I just did a bunch of characters and objects that I had drawn throughout the month all together. So I'll point them out for you here in case you're curious. Hestu, there's that little fucked up leaf that I experimented in. That's the hardest one to see because I drew it really bad. Magical Girl Pons, Epic Spethjasu, Charles, self-portrait, and I'm like a giggly fangirl because I'm happy this is done. Jen the Golden Knight, Chibi Pons, Vampire, Mermaid, Lavaine, and then her shattered mirror self, the Guardian Monster, the Galactic Overlord. This is Mark, but he's smiling instead of looking sad. And same with Samus. There's his mohawk, but he's smiling because he's petting Wily, who's looking at this dumpling version of myself, which is being held by the lamppost dragon. And so the lamppost dragon is kind of teasing Wily by holding my dumpling form, which is kind of dark because I don't want to get eaten. The Dark Angel, but kind of smiling again. I don't know why I did that one smiling because the tears still running down. The Beauty and the Beast Rose, and Athari's in the background with her tattered robe. Definitely not detailed. And then the stars that were from that nebulous cloud one. So about 22, I believe, references from previous pieces. I didn't do all of them because I didn't want to have multiple Ponses in there. Ponses? Is that the plural of Pons? I think so. It's hard to tell with characters that whose names end with S. Charles's, Ponses. Anyways, I just have one Pons in here, and then I think the rest I just couldn't fit. And this is a sneak peek at the next drawing. I just did, the following pages are not part of Inktober, to remind myself mostly. So I'm going to color this one and have the video posted the next couple days here. That is my Inktober sketchbook. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. Boop!